What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got what seems to be a stat card. I'm not sure if anything is finalized or anything like that yet, but it seems to be a stat card for July 12th, where we have, obviously you're looking at it right now. We have, I hope it's not in this order because Edgar Berlanga shouldn't be main eventing over no Keyshawn. I'm not saying Keyshawn over Shakur. That's crazy. That's just feeding into just the delusions of Edgar Berlanga. But anyways, we got David Morrell, Imam, I think that's Kai Kataev, Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias, Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda, of course, and Edgar Berlanga versus Hazam Shiraz. All right, now, this is definitely a stat card. I went ahead and looked at I did the research on it and whatnot. I'll go ahead and get into the article, and then we'll talk about each fight and which fight I'm looking forward to the most. All right. All right. So shout out to what's this? Boxing News. BoxingNews24.com. It says July 12th fight card: Berlanga versus Sheeraz, Stevenson versus Zepeda, Puello versus Matias, Morrell versus Kai. I think that's Kataev. It says Edgar Berlanga faces Hamzat Shiraz in a 168-pound title eliminator. Shakur Stevenson defends his WBC lightweight title against William Zepeda. Light heavyweight contender David Morrell fights Imam Kataev. And WBC 140-pound champion Alberto Puello battles Subriel Matias on a stat card on July 12th in New York City. Hey, I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going to have to bring my Roku though. I'm not missing that. Anyways, it says Mike Carpenter of Ring Magazine of The Ring broke the news of the loaded card on July 12th in New York City. He didn't say who the main event will be, but it appears that Berlanga versus Sheeraz will be top of the card. That's an awful fight. I don't think that'll be the main event. That would be crazy. But anyways, that's an awful fight for hardcore boxing fans because these guys are viewed as hype jobs who failed when they stepped up to world-class opposition. The Ring Magazine card, the shocker for this card is number 6 Edgar Berlanga, who has a record of 23-1 with 18 knockouts, is fighting Hamzat Shiraz, who is 21-0 with 17 knockouts, and the WBC super middleweight title eliminator to determine the mandatory for champion Canelo Alvarez. Dog, I cannot make this up. That is ridiculous. Are you serious? That's what? Oh my gosh. Anyways, Shiraz never fought at 168 and looked hellishly bad in his last controversial 12-round draw. If you guys remember, I actually just did a video on that on Shiraz. I believe it was like on Thursday, and ironically, I said in the video, I said, if even if he was as little as I think of Edgar Berlanga, if Shiraz was to fight Edgar Berlanga, I think Edgar Berlanga would beat him. You know what I'm saying? But this is probably the only fight I would pick Edgar Berlanga to win, as far as well-known guys. Anyways, say look bad against his WBC 100-pound champion Carlos Adames on February 22nd. Berlanga was beaten by Canelo last September by one. Was it? It wasn't. Yeah, it was last September by a one-sided 12-round decision, in which he would be getting a quick rematch with the Mexican star by beating Shiraz. That is ridiculous. That's crazy. The WBC title eliminator should involve contenders ranked in the top 5, which would exclude Berlanga. With the event being staged in New York City, it makes sense to have the Brooklyn native Berlanga as the headliner spot. Talent-wise and achievement-wise, Berlanga should be near the bottom because he's done nothing in his career. Edgar will bring his fans. Morrell, who has the record of 11-1 with 9 knockouts, is fighting 2020 Russian Olympian Kataev, who is 10-0 with 9 knockouts. This should be an interesting one to see where former 2-division world champion Morrell is after his loss to David Benavidez. All right, so that's what's up. Let me see if read this one right here. All right, so check. This is boxing scene right here. See if I get some more information. Shakur, so shout out to BoxingScene.com. It says Shakur and Hamzan, two boxers who appeared on the last Riyadh season show in February, will reportedly make their returns on another card headed by Turki Al-Sheikh on July 12th. Shakur Stevenson, who has the record of 23-0 with 11 knockouts, will defend his WBC lightweight title against mandatory challenger William Zepeda, who's 33-0 with 27 knockouts. While Shiraz, who is 21-0 with 17 knockouts, will fight Berlanga, who is 23-1 with 18 knockouts. The news was reported by Mike Compinger. I just went on that. Shakur of nearby Newark, New Jersey, is coming off of a 9-round stoppage of a late replacement, Josh Padley, on February 22nd in Riyadh. While Zepeda secured his second straight close decision win over Tevin Farmer, a southpaw with KG style similar to that of Stevenson just last month. Berlanga, who grew up in New York but now resides in Florida, made his ring return last month with the first round stoppage of Jonathan Gonzalez-Ortiz, just 6 months after his defeat by unanimous decision to Canelo Alvarez. So Shiraz, so yeah, it's basically saying the same thing. All right, so let's go ahead and just give my take on that. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. If you're a David Morrell fan, you have every right to be nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what's crazy is I don't even know whatever his last name is, but I will say this, bro. The fact that he is an Olympian and the fact that, you know, he's fighting David Morrell coming off of a loss, the way they build boxers, they're looking either they truly just feel like, hey, this is a 50-50 fight, we can make this, or they're looking to make this Imam cat, you know, look good by having Darrell on his resume, and they feel like he could beat Darrell. I said Morrell. That's a good fight. Well, I'm not gonna say it's a good fight because I don't really know who he is. I gotta look into it, but I feel like on paper it looks like to be a good matchup. He's an Olympian, so obviously he has both of them. No, I don't think Morrell is an Olympian, but I know he has a deep amateur background or whatnot. And then obviously Alberto Puello versus Subriel Matias. Now, if I'm not mistaken, at one point, weren't they supposed to fight each other or something like that? I think that's a very interesting matchup. Subriel Matias gets another shot at a title at 140. I believe he lost his to Liam Paro or whatnot. But that's, you know, hard-hitting cat from Puerto Rico. I believe he's like, I think he got all his wins by knockout, like 22-2 with 22 knockouts. That's going to be an interesting matchup. I think Alberto Puello, he is a very good boxer. Not the most entertaining to watch, but very good at what he does. I think that's going to be very interesting to see if Subriel Matias could become a two-time champion at 140. I would have really loved to see Gary Antoine Russell running back with Alberto Puello. I thought Gary Antoine could have won that fight, but you know, we'll see what they have Gary Russell do or whatever. And then obviously, you know, Shakur Williams Zepeda. To me, that should be the headliner. I feel like, you know, that's a fight that, you know, Williams Zepeda and Golden Boy did not want. Shakur was, you know, calling him out multiple times. They didn't want that fight. I honestly speaking, that's why they fought Tevin Farmer, to get him in the ring with somebody that, you know, that's a southpaw, to try to get him acclimated more to Shakur's style or whatnot. And you see how he looked. Zepeda didn't look anywhere near as dominant as he did like when he fought Jojo Diaz or whatnot. Somebody that just comes forward and doesn't really have the boxing IQ. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that fight. I got Shakur winning that fight. I don't know who I got winning against Puello versus Matias. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. And I don't know who I got winning versus David Morrell. But that's what makes these cards so entertaining, right? And then finally, last but not least, we have, well, I don't know if it's going to go in this order or not, but we have Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Sheeraz or whatnot. Now, Shiraz looked very, 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 disappointing in this last fight. You know, I think that I thought I had picked him to beat Carlos Adames, but he just looked terrible. I thought he lost that fight. Now he's moving up, and his first fight is against Edgar Berlanga. Now, I don't think highly of Edgar Berlanga, and I'm not too much of a fan of Edgar Berlanga. But however, you know, moving up to 168, I always feel like, unless if you are like a top guy like Floyd Mayweather, or, you know, even if you are a top guy, I can always understand if you move up in weight, you want to test the waters and get somebody that's maybe it's not as well known. But I don't think highly of Edgar, but I will say I think this fight is more, I would say 70-30 for Edgar, because I mean, Shiraz gets hit a lot. And Edgar is a big guy, you know what I'm saying? I don't think, you know, Shiraz's frame is not that big. He, aside from the common mistakes that he makes, I just don't see him doing well in a fight against Edgar Berlanga. I mean, I don't see it. So I could see Edgar Berlanga stopping Shiraz, honestly. And that's not gonna, I say that, but it's not gonna say much about Edgar Berlanga. I still don't think that he could be any of the top guys at 168 pounds. But you know, I don't even see why the dude is so delusional, man. I don't like now he's gonna be headlining this, and I'm getting this fight not because of his fight, but because of Shakur and all them. But I'm sure he'll take credit for it and think that it's because of him. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?